yeah, we have cracked a Jared here. So when you crack a bomb like this, generally not worth considering the commons or uncommons in the set or in the pack. Just take a look at them, see what you're passing. We're passing an arrest here, explosive impact, a traitorous instinct. Yeah, but we're going to definitely want to take the Jared and go into Golgari, hopefully. Knock on wood. And we've got an on-color key rune. And there's an auger spree as well, which is very useful to have some removal like that. So that's tempting to take. We could end up splashing the red, being 3 colors. Jared is very color intensive. What's my mouse doing here? Axebane Guardian would leave us on color. Definitely a lot less powerful than the auger spree. We also have a Trestle Troll and a Golgari Guildgate. So we have options here, and my mouse is not cooperating. Hello, mouse. No. Okay, it allowed me a pick. And it was the auger spree. So we may not be playing one of the Golgari Lich Lord Jared or the auger spree, depending. We have a stab wound here, also an annihilating fire in the pack, so some very good removal early getting passed to us. We will be passing some good removal here, either stab wound or annihilating fire. Maybe both if the mouse stops working. Rites of Reaping is also some removal, a bit high on the curve, but it can be quite useful. We have a Centaur's Herald, Dead Reveler, and Giant Growth are all definite contenders for playability. With Jared's ability, though, with sacrificing creatures, we are quite likely to want more creatures. Dead Reveler is a creature. Giant Growth makes the creatures bigger for Jared's sacrifice ability. But we do want a high level of creatures in the deck for Jared. Centaur's Herald does go to the graveyard, which does help, but the Dead Reveler is just a better creature overall. We've got a nice treasure find here, which brings stuff back from the graveyard. The Monitor is alright, the Scavenge does come into play. 3/3 is not something to shake a stick at. The Golgari Longlegs is quite alright. We're starting to get a little bit high of a curve here. I think I'm just going to take the treasure find. Usually it will help you recycle things like Stab Wound or Auger Spree. So we'll play that. And we've got a Sluiceway Scorpion here, just to keep our curve nice and high. Sewer Chandler's Ice. Scavenge there is good. Scavenge kind of works against Jared's power and toughness component of him, so but it's still quite good. The Swamp Walk is excellent, so we'll just play that, keep the curve low. We've got another Rites of Reaping. There's a Trestle Troll here, and a Grim Roustabout. This is looking very Golgari. This is starting to look very easy to draft. But I'm going to take the 2-drop here, just to try and get some kind of better curve going. And there is more of him. He's looking like some bigger creatures here, but I still think I want the 2-drops to try and get in there as easily as possible. Now we are considering splashing the red here, so a Trader's Instinct is not an unheard of pick here, but Chorus of Might is quite good. It's 4 mana for a pump spell is expensive, but Chorus of Might really can get the job done. Especially when you have something like Jared that can be large and have difficulty getting past any chump blockers late game. Chorus of Might can help out with that. Let's pick the Key Rune. We might not end up playing that. There's a Guild Gate and a Deviant Glee. Now the Deviant Glee is just an unholy strength without the red, and definitely makes it a lot less good. So I think we're going to want to take the Guild Gate here, not knowing whether or not we're going to be playing the red. We're going to be trying to avoid it, hopefully getting some gates, some Rakdos Guild Gates to splash it so that we don't have to detract from our swamp and forest count to help Jared here. And now we're waiting for our pack to get passed to us. There we go. And that sure was worth the wait. We have some cards that are not very good. And I know that last draft I said that in the draft and got beat down by those cards that I said were not good. But I still don't think that any of those were really good cards. That was really an unfortunate match. I lost to Bellows Lizards and things like that. Horncaller's Chant is possibly playable in a deck like this if I end up getting a little bit of ramp. I already have the Key Rune, I guess, as ramp. This is, yeah, I had the forest there. Terrace Worm is also possibly playable. Now we have a Dreadbore. That can be some good removal. But there's also a Stab Wound in the pack. And Stab Wound doesn't force us off of our guild, our desired guild of Golgari, like Dreadbore does. Like if we had to cut Dreadbore and Augur Spree in order to remain true to Golgari, that would be some early picks that we would be just mucking. Stab Wound we will certainly play no matter what. And so we're just going to take that. And someone gets a Dreadbore. Okay. We have the Tavern Swindler. Pay 3 life, flip a coin. If you win the flip, you gain 6 life. Which isn't really a swindle. It's more of just a straight-up gamble. Flipping a coin, 50-50. We have a Drudge Beetle here. We also have a Rakdos Guild Gate. Which would definitely help us play the Augur Spree. But I think here what we want is just a 2/2 body. We only have 6 creatures so far, including Jared, and including Terrace Worm. So we're going to want to bulk up on creatures here before we start thinking about splashing for the Augur Spree. Now, Mind Rot, which is playable. Assassin Strike is a bit of expensive removal, but it is removal. Gatecreeper Vine is quite excellent, especially if we end up with the Rakdos Guild Gate, like we just passed. I think right here we're looking at Gatecreeper Vine. Now, a super huge fan of Assassin Strike because it is very expensive in its sorcery speed. And so I'll take the Gatekeeper Vine, which will allow us to splash for our Augur Spree. So you can almost consider it helping out our removal that we already have. There's a Dreg Mangler here, which is a very good card, and is definitely getting picked. Haste is just quite excellent in this format. Catching people by surprise. And here we have a Dead Reveler, and a bunch of things. Trostani's Judgment is a decent card. Ethereal Armor. You can draft a bunch of these if you want to try a fun deck. And really cheap white creatures. And play the enchantment deck, and especially if you get a lot of creatures in the skies, you can catch people off guard with a really quick, aggressive deck built up of cards that are generally not high picks. So it's somewhat gimmicky, but it's fun. Okay, we have another Gatekeeper Vine. We also have a Chorus of Might and a Golgari Charm. Now, Golgari Charm's not a fantastic charm, but it's definitely playable. The three abilities all generally come into play in the course of playing Magic. There's a lot of key enchantments. Stab Wound, as we have two of them, is pretty nice. You can, if there's a pump enchantment on a creature, you can take it off in combat, and the regeneration and the -1/-1 also are good ways with messing with combat. Okay, now we have a Crocodile here. Speaking of messing with combat, giving this guy lifelink can be quite fun, especially if you hold up a Golgari Charm to regenerate him. Now, there's other stuff in the pack, like Gutter Snipe and Trader's Instinct. Red's looking quite playable here, but we have our pick with the Crocodile. And that's that. I'm not sure if we want to play this Key Rune. Okay, we have an Imp, which we don't have to pay mana to give it lifelink. It has evasion, and it hangs on nicely to our thingy. Scavenge is what it's called. It pumps well. And we're just getting picks all over the place. Thrillkill Assassin is a lovely 2-drop. Towering Indrik is playable here, but I kind of want my deck to lean more towards the 2s than the 3s. Leaning towards the 3s is a bit higher a curve, it's a bit slower than leaning towards the 2s. I am a big fan of unloading my hand early. Okay, so Tavern Swindler. Like I said, it's not really a swindle, it's just a straight up gamble. There's also a treasure find. So this is some recursion that can be nice, and this is a bear. We have 13 creatures, but we are high on removal, and this can just recycle some removal. So I'm going to take the treasure find and kind of be assuming that we're a bit more of a controlling side of a Golgari deck. There's a Rakdos Charm. Trained Caracal is not super good, so we're probably going to get beat down by it in round 3. So let's take it. Hide. Bizarre Crovod. This guy's not very good. It can be playable if you're in a pinch. Cremate, it's there. Plains, Cremate. Cremate's alright against Golgari. Not much else. Now we open a Chromatic Lantern. Now that is something that helps out our Augur Spree. And it can definitely help you splash anything. It's if you're having difficulty with things like Jared, Golgari, Lichlord, Chromatic Lantern can get there. This will allow us to play Jared off of any 4 lands, which is fairly impressive. That said, Jared seems to be the only card that's really super intensive on mana. Augur Spree will be, but we may not even end up playing that. Because there is another Stab Wound in the pack, and I would rather load up on Stab Wounds than waste this pick, or rather spend this pick on Chromatic Lantern. It would definitely not be a waste. There's also a Rogue's Passage here, which is quite nice in something like Golgari, but Stab Wound is very nice in our deck. Okay, here we have a Herald, Sluiceway Scorpion, Volatile Rig, Perilous Shadow. Some decent cards here. I think Volatile Rig is actually quite nice in this deck. Sluiceway Scorpion has a nice cheap scavenge cost. Centaur's Herald goes to the graveyard early for Jared, and anything that we pick up later on in this pack that populates, Centaur's Herald is good with that as well. It chumps for a turn. It's a pretty good card. These are all very, very defensible picks. I think I'm just going to want the Herald. It's cheaper than the other guys. Okay, Blood Crypt is in here. Now, it's interesting to note with Gatecreeper Vine that it's a basic land or a gate card. So, Gatecreeper Vine won't help search out Blood Crypt if we're looking to use that to splash the Augur Spree. We will need to pick up a gate or play a mountain. The pack does also have Golgari Decoy and Grim Roustabout, also Perilous Shadow, all of which are definitely defensible picks for this deck. Now, I'm not entirely sure what I want here. More Roustabouts is good. I think I'm just going to take the Blood Crypt because that's definitely worth money. We can play the Augur Spree then. There's our Rakdos Guildgate if we want that here. There's also an Axebane Guardian, gets my mana. And it's unfortunate that they're in the same pack. We have a Savage Surge. Which is a pretty good pump spell. Chorus of Might, like I said, fairly expensive pump spell. So, and Grizzly Salvage is a solid card, especially when you have something like Jared in your pack. I think here for us it comes down to the Guildgate against the Axebane Guardian. Guildgate gives us 2 ways to cast the Augur Spree with the Vine. Axebane Guardian just gives us 1, but Axebane Guardian helps us cast things like Jared. This is rather sexy, having a Karazda Guildmage here. Definitely a very solid card in Golgari we're going to want to take, so I'll put that in there. We have a quite high number of cards here. There's another Augur Spree. What is going on here? I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to take this Augur Spree. It's going to probably make us play a single mountain for that Gatecreeper Vine Augur Spree, just because very good removal that other people aren't taking. So we have a deck that's a pile of removal and things like Jared, and doesn't even really have a curve. It's just 2 and 3 drops. So we'll fix that with a Jailbreaker, and we'll fix that with a Rhino. And the Rogue's Passage is really a solid card. Here it's Rogue's Passage against Grizzly Salvage. The Locust doesn't really enter into it. It's got this cheap scavenge cost, but the Grizzly Salvage helps dig towards our Jared, and it helps pump Jared when he's already out by putting more creatures into the graveyard. It helps with scavenge. I think it's that over the land. Our mana base is already quite stretched thin as it was. Perilous Shadow against Sluiceway Scorpion. The Axebane Stag is on the expensive side. It's not entirely unplayable. We do have Axebane Guardian in here. So we'll just take the Sluiceway Scorpion. It's got Death Touch, Cheap Scavenge. Perilous Shadow is here. There's a Tenement Crasher as well, which actually is in our splash color, and it's a far better card than Perilous Shadow. So, and I don't think that it's going to make us play any more than just the one mountain that we already planned on playing. So we'll take that. More Grizzly Salvage and Savage Surge. I suspect that we just want Grizzly Salvage. This allows us to dig for Jared. I don't want to get beat down by the Bellows Lizards that I passed again. That was just sad. And someone gets a Chronic Flooding. And there's our mountain. Hooray. We didn't have to pick that up, but we did. And we're picking up swamps. Cards we're going to play. Now, in this build, we are going to have more cards that are playable than are possible to play. So I'm immediately throwing to the side anything that's marginal. Terrace Worm. We might want to play Terrace Worm. The Beetle, Divine, the Guardian, the Crocodile, Course of Might. We might not want to play that. Rhino we're going to want to play. We might want to play the Chant. We're going to want to play Tenement Crasher. Charm, Salvage, Guildmage, Treasure, Mangler. Scorpion, Lich, Augur Spree. Keyrune can go ahead and hang out by itself. This is 28 cards. So we're going to need to make some cuts. So what is our plan of attack here? Double Treasure Find, 1 Grizzly Salvage. We have a large pile of removal here, which tends to force things into the later game. We may even want things like Horncaller's Chant or Terrace Worm in here. It also just helps our guys keep getting through. Treasure Find recurs them. I think this is a very good plan that we have going. I think we actually want a Terrace Worm in here because we're maniacs. I think we can get away without the Tenement Crasher. Still 28 cards though. maybe 2 treasure finds is a bit much. I am a fan when you have this much removal of playing treasure find. And it helps get back Jared without sacrificing the swamp and forest. Of course, the sacrificing the swamp and forest is somewhat arguments against larger casting cost guys like Terrace Worm. But just the fact that Terrace Worm can go into the graveyard from a Grizzly Salvage, get scavenged onto something like Rubbleback Rhino, is an argument to keep him in. We are going to be looking to play the usual 17 lands with this fairly standard curve here. So we want to cut 4 more cards to get this down to 23. Roustabout, Guildmage, Imp, Beetle. Those are all very good cards. Crocodile is maybe one of our less good 3-drops. We have 19 creatures in this deck. That's a lot of creatures, especially considering we are going to be playing our 5 removal spells here. So we're looking to cut creatures. We only have the 1 Guildgate, so I'm inclined to leave the Jailbreaker at the wayside. Stonefair Crocodile can hang out there while I take a look at this without him. I would rather have Sewer Shambler, I'd rather have Dreg Mangler, I'd rather have the Revelers, and I'd rather have the Axebane Guardian. Axebane Guardian and Gatecreeper Vine are creatures, but they're not going to be attacking. So this 17 is sort of artificially inflated by defenders. Jared. Let's equal to the creature's power. So Axebane Guardian and Gatecreeper Vine don't count towards that. But they will succeed in pumping Jared if we sack them. Now let's bring down our non-creature spells. Salvage. So this is what it's looking like here. Creatures up top, non-creatures down below. Terrace Worm is looking a bit like an outlier here. Sorry, Wormy. We are just going to keep this quick and cheap. So we have 1 more cut to make. I don't think we want to get that Crocodile back in. Now, I think it may just be Golgari Charm here. I'd rather keep the Treasure Find and the Grizzly Salvage. Those are, I think, are a lot more useful in this deck than Golgari Charm. Golgari Charm does have its uses, but I don't think those uses are in this deck. I think this is exactly what we want for our 23. It will lay out creatures quickly and remove anything in its way, which is kind of unfortunate for something like Stab Wound, where you want it to sit on a creature and use it to win with attrition, but it's still perfectly reasonable removal. So let's add our lands. We're going to want the 1 mountain, Blood Crypt, Golgari Guildgate. And the 1 mountain is there so that the Gatecreeper Vine can splash for our Augur Sprees. It's going to be the only land in our deck that doesn't count towards casting Jared. The Guildgate plays both sides, so in this one we are going to have, with the Blood Crypt counting as one of our swamps, of the 15 lands that we play that aren't Guildgate or Mountain, we are going to play one more of a particular color. We're going to either play 8 swamp, 7 forest, or 8 forest, 7 swamp. And we're going to lean towards forest here, because Axebane Guardian and Gatecreeper Vine both fix us into black, as well as fixing us into red. So the green helps play our black sources, whereas the opposite is not true. It doesn't flow the other way. Green is generally quite good for that. So we will add our lands. Suggest we do not need another one of those. No, it's 8 and 7 of those, but it's 6 because our 7th is there. And that's our 40 cards, and this is what we will start off with.